What if the person meant to save you is the one secretly putting your life in danger? This is the story of Dr. Kinsley, a doctor loved by everyone, trusted by families, and seems as a miracle worker. But behind his calm smile and skilled hands lies a dark secret. Kinsley Journey Hospital was one of the busiest hospitals in the entire city. People trooped like ants running to sugar, pregnant women, new mothers, families, sick people, everyone. They believed the hospital was the best in the whole city. Some even said, if Kinsley Journey Hospital cannot help you, no other place can. The hospital had a clean smell, bright walls, and neat nurses who moved around quickly. Every day, the waiting hall was packed with people hoping to see one man, the famous Dr. Kinsley, the man they called Magic Finger. Dr. Kinsley was the most popular gynecologist in the city. He walked through the hospital with quiet confidence, wearing his white coat like a king wearing his royal robe. Everywhere he went, people greeted him with joy. Doctor, God bless your hands. Doctor, you saved my life. Magic Finger, they called him. That was his nickname, Magic Finger. People believed his hands were blessed. They believed he carried a special grace. Since he opened the hospital, not even one death had been recorded. Babies were born safely. Mothers recovered fast. It felt like a miracle place. People traveled from far places just to meet him. He was respected. He was loved. He was the doctor everyone prayed to meet. On one sunny morning, a couple walked into the hospital with quiet hope in their hearts. Mr. Alabi and his beautiful wife Ronke had prayed, waited, and hoped for 6 long years. Every month brought disappointment. Every year brought whispers from relatives asking why they were still childless. They held each other's hands tightly as they entered Kinsley Journey Hospital, their trusted family doctor's clinic. Dr. Kinsley had cared for the couple for years. The doctor they believed could bring hope where it seemed impossible. Ronke had missed her period that month, and worried had begun to shadow her joy. Alabi's grip on her hands tightened as they entered the consultation room. Dr. Kinsley smiled warmly, hiding a spark of excitement. Good morning, Mrs. Ronke. Good morning, Mr. Alabi, he said, his voice calm yet carrying a weight of anticipation. He carried out a pregnancy test with careful hands. The minutes felt like hours as Alabi and Ronke waited, hearts pounding in unison. Then the result came out. It was positive. The word hung in the air like a soft melody. Dr. Kinsley's eyes lit up. Congratulations. After 5 long years of waiting, God has finally answered your prayers. You are going to be parents. Ronke's hands flew to her mouth. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Alabi's nails weakened as joy and disbelief collided inside him. They embraced. Laughter and tears blended into a single moment of pure relief. The hospital around them buzzed with life. Nurses moved gracefully through the hallways. The receptionist greeted patients with a cheerful smile. For everyone looking in, Kinsley Journey Hospital was perfect. A place of healing, a place of miracle, a place people trusted with their most precious treasures. Alabi squeezed Ronke's hands tightly, unaware that beyond the bright light and friendly faces, a shadow lingered, a shadow that would turn their joy into unimaginable sorrow. However, their hearts were full, their soul lifted, and the world seems to shine a little brighter. After 5 years of waiting, their miracle had finally come. Dr. Kinsley's story didn't begin in fame or wealth. He was once a young doctor with bright dreams, a devoted husband, and has a baby girl who filled his home with laughter. He had a humble background, but a gifted mind and hands that patients swore were miraculous. Kinsley worked in a private hospital owned by his close friend Dr. Samuel. At first, everything was perfect. Kinsley was kind, calm and very good with patients. He treated them with love and patience. Soon, people started talking about him. They nicknamed him Magic Finger. Patients started coming to the hospital just to meet Dr. Kinsley. The waiting room was always full. Even pregnant women prayed he would be the one to attend to them. But something changed. Dr. Samuel, his friend and boss, began to watch him with fear and jealousy. He noticed patients requested for Kinsley more than him. He felt his own hospital was slowly slipping out of his hands. What if Kinsley becomes more popular than me? What if he takes over my hospital? The jealousy grew until it became hot and bitter. One morning, in front of the staff, Dr. Samuel humiliated him. "You are no longer needed here," he said coldly. "Pack your things and go." Kinsley's heart broke. He stood there, confused, embarrassed and speechless. His world crashed that day. Dr. Kinsley was heartbroken. Weeks of despair followed. His act ached not just for himself, but for his family, for the stability he had worked so hard to create. Eventually, he found a job at the Federal Hospital. The pay was modest, yet patients flocked to him. They saw the gift in his hands. They believed in him. It was during this time that he met Dr. Uche, a younger colleague who owned a thriving private hospital in the city. Kinsley, far more experienced, could not ignore Uche's wealth and influence. One day, at a medical conference, fate twisted cruelly. Dr. Samuel, who had humiliated and sacked him years ago, appeared. Anger surged in Kinsley's chest. His desire for respect, recognition, and revenge burned like fire. At home, Kinsley's wife pleaded with him to trust in God, to rely on the gift in his hands. "God will bless you through your skill. Don't chase shortcuts," she warned softly. But Kinsley's ears were deaf to her counsel. The arrow of power and vengeance had already gripped his heart. Desperate to reclaim his place and challenge those who had shamed him, Dr. Kinsley turned to Dr. Uche. "I know there are ways to succeed in this field that others won't tell me," he confessed. "I want to be connected. I want to rise like you, like the big doctors." Uche hesitated at first. He could see the desperation in Kinsley's eyes, the hunger that overshadowed caution. Eventually, he gave in and introduced Kinsley to secret society, promising connections, fame, wealth, and influence. The initiation into the cult came with a cost. The first sacrifice demanded was unthinkable: his own pregnant wife. Blinded by ambition and the promise of limitless success, Kinsley gave in. He sacrificed his pregnant wife, Adako, the woman who loved him, supported him and prayed for him. After his wife's burial, he left the city with his daughter, relocated to another state, and established his own hospital, a gleaming symbol of his ambition. He remarried and had a son, continuing his life outwardly as a respected doctor, but carrying a dark secret that would shape the lives of all who trusted him. The days after the pregnancy confirmation was filled with joy for Alabi and Ronke. 5 years of longing, endless prayers and quiet tears had finally given way to hope. Their home was alive with laughter, whispered prayer and dreams of the future. When the time came for their first antenatal checkup, they walked into Kinsley Joining Hospital like they had countless times before. The reception was calm, the nurses cheerful, the halls filled with the familiar hums of life being healed. Nothing seemed out of place. Dr. Kinsley greeted them warmly. "Good to see you both again," he said. His smile calm and reassuring. To Alabi and Ronke, he was more than a doctor. He was a trusted family doctor, a healer whose end carried hope. The consultation was routine. Dr. Kinsley measured Ronke's belly, checked her vitals, and reassured them with a gentle voice. He explained every procedure carefully, making them feel safe and cared for. Alabi watched his wife relax under doctor's guidance, her hands resting lightly on her stomach. To the couple, it was just another ordinary visit, nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. They left the hospital smiling, heart full of gratitude, completely unaware of the darkness that lingered behind the walls they had trusted. But while they celebrated life, another world was quietly stirring. Dr. Kinsley returned to his office after their departure. Behind the closed doors, he handled the blood samples of all his pregnant patients with careful precision. Each vial, each test result was not just a medical record, but a potential offering for the secret society he now served. For many years after sacrificing his pregnant wife and unborn child, Dr. Kingsley's life became a testimony people envied. No death has been recorded under his care. But what the world did not know was that the peace he enjoyed was only for a season. One night, at a secret occult meeting he belongs, the leader stood before him and said, "Kinsley, your years of fruitful labor have ended. It is time again." Kinsley's heart shook. He knew what those words meant. He knew another life would be required. But this time, the leader added something worse. "From now on, your sacrifice will not be once in many years. It will be every month." Dr. Kinsley's heart was cold as he listened, his ambition overriding any conscience that remained. The leader stretched out his hands. "Bring the blood samples of all the pregnant patients who walked into your hospital. The one we choose will be your first sacrifice of the new season." Weeks passed in fear as the day of selection drew near. Dr. Kinsley did not sleep. He watched every pregnant patient who walked into his hospital with a heavy heart. Then the night came. Inside the temple, he placed a tray containing the blood samples of all pregnant patients from his hospital. The occult leader began the ritual. Chants filled the air. Drums echoed. The leader walked around the box chanting softly. Then he picked one bottle. A red glow surrounded it. "This is the chosen blood," he said. Kinsley swallowed sharply and looked at the label. Ronke Alabi. He remembered her sweet smile. He remembered her husband's excitement. He remembered telling them, "Your baby is strong." But the occult rules could not be changed. Ronke had been chosen. The day of her delivery arrived, a day that should have been filled with joy. Ronke went into labor. Her husband Alabi by her side, unaware the danger that loomed. Hours passed. The labor did not progress as it should. Panic rose in the room. An emergency C-section was called. Doctors and nurses worked with urgency, their movements precise, their eyes focused, yet something unseen pressed against the room. Then the unthinkable happened. Ronke did not survive the surgery. Neither did her baby. Alabi screamed, cradling her lifeless body in his hands. His cries echoing through the hospital corridors. The staffs were shaking. It was the first death ever recorded in Kinsley's Journey Hospital. Dr. Kinsley remained calm, composed, a mark of professionalism hiding the horror he had orchestrated. Alabi's world were heard far and wide. Friends and family arrived, offering condolences, unable to comprehend how such a tragedy could strike a family so faithful, so careful and so blessed. And as Alabi mourned, he could not see the darkness that had crept into the very place he had trusted with his wife's life. The death of Ronke and her unborn child shook Kinsley Journey Hospital to its core. For years, no patient had ever died under Dr. Kinsley's care. The staff whispered nervously among themselves, but the hospital continued to operate as usual. Outside, the city mourned quietly, unaware of the truth behind the tragedy. Weeks passed and the memory of Ronke's death faded from public attention, but within the hospital walls, a sinister pattern was forming. Deaths become more frequent, mostly among pregnant women and their babies. Every passing month brought another quiet tragedy, another grieving family, another life taken. Despite the mounting casualties, Dr. Kinsley showed no remorse. To him, this was not murder, it was the price of ambition and power. His sacrifice ensured his continued fame, his growing wealth, and his unchallenged position in the medical community. Rumors began to circulate. Families whispered caution to one another. Never trust Dr. Kinsley's hospital, they said quietly, yet the warning had little effect. Only newcomers to the city, unaware of the dark history, continued to seek care there. Those unfamiliar with the hospital and its reputation walked unknowingly into the hands of the man they believed would heal them. The staff who remained grew uneasy. Some began to notice how strange things seemed during deliveries. And now Dr. Kinsley's calm demeanor never faltered. Even in the face of death, yet fear kept them silent. Years passed and Ronke's tragedy became a footnote to the city's memory, a warning whispered only among those who knew too much. But the shadow of Dr. Kinsley's deed continued to grow, stretching its reach to every patient, every staff members, and every unsuspecting family that entered his hospital. Mr. Onyeka had just been transferred to the city for work. He was a devoted husband and a proud father to a 6 years old boy, Chima. His wife, beautiful and kind-hearted, was expecting their second child. Everything about their new life was full of hope and promise. Soon after settling in, Mrs. Onyeka registered for antenatal care as Kinsley Joining Hospital, the most equipped hospital in the city. Her first visit passed without incident, just routine check, friendly nurses and Dr. Kinsley's reassuring her. To her, it was a hospital like any other, a place where lives were saved. During her second visit, she went with her son Chima. He held her hands tightly as they walked into the hospital. Everything looked normal. White walls, calm nurses, gentle music, but Chima's small heart beat fast. The moment he saw Dr. Kinsley, something inside him trembled. He could not explain it, but fear rushed through him like cold water. "Mommy, let's go," he whispered with shaky breath. "Hush, Chima, don't be silly," she replied softly. Dr. Kinsley smiled at them, his calm face hiding the monster inside. But Chima felt it. He felt something his young spirit could not understand. But the boy could not shake the feeling. That night, he had terrible nightmares about his mother. He dreamt of strange rituals, dark rooms, and a woman in labor who never woke up. Every time he tried to tell his parents, they dismissed him. "You are just a child. Go back to sleep," they would say. Days passed, but the vision did not stop. Chima's cries for help went unheard until one afternoon when Mrs. Onyeka went to a local shop to buy baby items for her upcoming delivery. As she reached the counter, the shopkeeper, a calm woman with knowing eyes, looked at her and asked, "How well do you know God?" Mrs. Onyeka laughed lightly. "I never miss Sunday service," she said. The woman shook her head. "Going to church is different from a personal relationship with God. Sometimes He speaks through dreams, sometimes through messages, sometimes through a child." Mrs. Onyeka froze. Her heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" "The cries of your son have reached God's ear," the woman said gently. "When you get home, Listen to him. He has something important to tell you. Call me after you've spoken with him. With trembling hands, Mrs. Onyeka took her number. That evening, she sat beside Chima in his small bed. The boy's voice shook as he recounted his dreams, the dark room, the incantations, the woman in labor who did not survive. Mrs. Onyeka's blood ran cold. Every word sent shiver down her spine. She picked up the phone and dialed the shopkeeper's number. Her heart pounded. The next morning, Mrs. Onyeka woke up with fear still sitting heavily on her chest. She looked at her son, Chima, just 6 years old, yet carrying dreams that shook her bones. She dressed quickly and took him straight to the shopkeeper's shop. The moment they entered, the seller looked up and sighed deeply. "You came early," she said softly, as if she already knew why. "Yes," Mrs. Onyeka whispered. "I couldn't sleep." The seller nodded and gently touched her hand. "My sister, fear is a warning, not a prison." Mrs. Onyeka held her son tightly. The seller looked at Chima for a long moment, then said, "Your child is not ordinary. God opened his eyes so you may not walk into darkness." Mrs. Onyeka swallowed hard. Her hands trembled. She had never been this frightened in her life. The seller continued in a calm, slow voice, speaking in parables. "Some pregnancies are like lambs. They shine without stress. Some are like battles. They must be protected day and night." Mrs. Onyeka's eyes widened. The seller leaned closer. "There are arrows that flies only at pregnant women. There are hunters who drink the tears of mothers. There are altars waiting for blood to drop. Your pregnancy is standing on a battlefield." Tears poured in Mrs. Onyeka's eyes. "What do I do?" she whispered. The seller smiled sadly. "Pregnancy is not a time to play. It is a time to carry prayer like food. Some women are lucky. Their journey is smooth, while some are not. Forces from strange places follow them with jealousy." She placed her hand gently on Mrs. Onyeka's belly. "The spiritual controls the physical," she continued. "Before anything happens to this child or to you, it must first happen in the spirit. And that is where you must fight." Then she looked at Chima's eyes and nodded slowly. "This boy is your alarm bell. Don't ignore him again." The seller finally prayed with them, led Mrs. Onyeka to Christ, and gave her a small paper with scriptures to read daily. Before she left, she whispered one more parable. "When a fire is burning in the forest, some trees will fall, but some trees carry water inside them. No fire can touch those ones. Go home and become that tree." Mrs. Onyeka felt something shift inside her. Fear, but also strength. Mrs. Onyeka returned home, her mind racing. That evening, she told her husband everything. Chima's dream, the warnings, the shopkeeper's parables. Together, they embarked on serious, consistent prayer, crying out for protection over their home, their unborn child, and each other. Their nights were filled with heartfelt supplications, holy reading, and fervent appeals for divine intervention. Mrs. Onyeka stopped going to Kinsley Joining Hospital. She found another hospital and registered for antenatal care. Months passed, the pregnancy progressed, but the shadow of danger never left. One day, during a secret society meeting, Dr. Kinsley had gathered the blood samples of all his pregnant patients, including Mrs. Onyeka's. One by one, the leader dipped his finger into the bowl of blood. Some glowed faintly, some stayed dark and calm, some turned pale. But when he touched Onyeka's blood, a loud hiss filled the air. Smoke shoot up from the bowl. The leader jumped back. The bowl cracked. The blood bubbled like hot oil. And then A strange bright fire rose from it. The other members fell to the ground in fear. "What kind of blood is this?" one shouted. The leader's eyes widened in shock and anger. Kinsley trembled. The leader turned to him with fury burning in his eyes. "How dare you bring a protected soul to my altar?" he shouted. "Master, I don't know." "Silence!" the leader roared. "You broke the order. You disrespected the altar. The punishment must be paid." Kinsley fell to his knees. "Please, master, don't take my life." The leader laughed coldly. "Not you. Something more painful." Kinsley froze. The leader leaned into his face. "Your holy daughter, the one your late wife bore for you, the one living abroad. She will pay for your crime." Kinsley screamed. "Master, please. She knows nothing. Punish me, not her." But the leader turned away. "Alive for your mistake." "No!" Kinsley cried, shaking violently. But it was too late. Weeks later, the unthinkable happened. A call came from the United States. His daughter, the one his first wife had born, had died. Dr. Kinsley wept uncontrollably, realizing that even his power had limits and that the consequences of his deed reached beyond his control. Yet for the Onyeka's family, God's protection held firm. Mrs. Onyeka's prayers, their faith, and Chima's courage has created a shield. The consuming fire of danger passed over them, leaving them alive, aware, and determined. The cries of a new life filled the Onyeka's household. Mrs. Onyeka gave birth to a bouncing healthy baby boy. Her prayers answered and her faith rewarded. Years passed and the fall of Kinsley Journey Hospital began quietly. Staff who had long stayed out of fear left one by one. Patients avoided the hospital. Whispers of death and misfortune spread like wildfire through the city. The once bustling halls grew silent. Machine laid unseen, corridors echoed with emptiness, and the smell of antiseptic could not mask the sense of doom that had taken root. Dr. Kinsley himself fell mysteriously ill. No doctor could determine the cause. No medicine brought relief. His desperate family flew him abroad for treatment, but even the most advanced hospital could not save him. He died far from home. His body left in foreign soil, never returned to the country he had once ruled in shadow. His empire crumbled. The hospital became a ghost town, abandoned and decaying, with no capable hands left to handle it. The place that had once been a beacon of hope now stood as a chilly reminder of ambition twisted by darkness. Even his family could not escape the consequences of his actions. His second wife died mysteriously, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. His son, born into wealth and opportunity, grew into a miserable young lost man, unable to fill the void left by his father's sin. The legacy of Dr. Kinsley was not one of healing or greatness, but of destruction, despite, and ruin. Lessons from this story. This story teaches us that life is deeper than what we see with our eyes. Not everyone who is meant to save you has good intentions. Sometimes, danger comes dressed in smiles and kind words. Be careful where you receive treatment. Always choose trusted hospital and doctors. And never ignore your instincts or warning from God. Protect yourself, your unborn child, and your family with prayer. And caution, listen to your heart, your dreams, and the messages God sent through people, signs, or children. Ambition and greed can destroy your life and the lives of those you love. The devil does not give blessing freely. Every shortcut comes with a price. Even in the darkest time, prayer, vigilance, and trust in God can shield you from evil. Power. Money and success can vanish overnight if built on lies, cruelty, or darkness. True blessings come from honesty, hard work, and faith in God. Sometimes, children sense danger before adults do. Do not dismiss warnings. They could save your life. Remember, choices have consequences, and evil never goes unpunished. Thank you so much for watching this story to the very end. Stories like this reminds us faith in God and wisdom are stronger than any darkness in the world. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another shocking, thrilling, and mind-blowing story. Your support keeps us telling more stories, uncovering the truth, and bringing you tales that are captivating, emotional, and unforgettable. Remember, the world is full of secrets, and some of them are waiting for you to discover. Stay alert, stay blessed, and stay tuned for the next story. I love you all. God bless you.